Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to Let's Play some Sid Meier's Civilization 4 with the release of Civ 7. I mean, kind of throughout the entirety of the channel, but especially with the release of Civ 7. Constantly people come into the streams and ask what my favorite version of Civ is, and I always answer Civilization 4. Now, part of that is to sidestep the complexity of comparing Civ 5, 6, and 7, which all have some unique strengths when compared to one another, and it's hard to pick a best one out of that on the basis that no matter which one you pick, it'll have some things that the others don't, but it'll be missing some things the others do. With 4, what we have here is the pinnacle of what I consider to be classic Civ, before the 1 unit per tile and hex map mechanic came in. And I do think it is extremely strong and definitely worth playing. I think it's definitely worth your time to play this. So we're going to go ahead and revisit this, which is what happens every few months for me because I enjoy this so much. I will note I am running one mod here, which is the bug mod, the better unaltered gameplay mod. All it is a user interface mod that has a couple of nice little quality of life UI things. It doesn't change the game in any way whatsoever. Was there one more thing I want to address? Oh, the music. The music for Civ 4, because it comes from a previous era, does get flagified all over on YouTube and can be very annoying. So I am simply running some EU4 soundtrack in the background. So sorry if that's a little bit confusing. Anyway, we're going to go single player. We're going to go, we'll customize the game. I'm only going to be playing on Monarch difficulty because it has been a while, and the difficulty in Civ 4 does ramp up like crazy. We beat Deity on Civ 5, 6, and 7 fairly regularly. I've never come close in Civ 4 because it is absolutely bonkers. We'll go Monarch, which is still going to be quite the challenge. We might indeed lose. I think I'm going to leave all the settings on default, and we'll just randomize who we get. There are a lot of ways that you can customize your Civ 4 experience, but let's go ahead and launch. I don't know who I'd be wanting to get, what kind of traits. All right, we got Alexander of the Greek Empire, who is philosophical and aggressive. We'll see what those traits are over here. Our starting technologies will be fishing and hunting. Our unique unit is the Phalanx, which replaces the Axeman. And a unique building is the Odeon, which replaces the Colosseum. So, if we take a look at our flag over here, we can see on the left-hand side, philosophical gives us 100% increase to our great birth rate, which is really good, and double production speed of universities. And aggressive I think is really good. All of our units that we create start with 1 free promotion of Combat 1, which is really important because it's a prereq for a lot of things, and I think this is truly free in that not only do you get it instantly, but it also doesn't increase the amount of experience points that you need to get the next promotions, which is really powerful. We also get double the production speed of barracks and dry docks, which is still handy. The university double speed is particularly nice because we're probably going to want to build universities everywhere. We don't necessarily build barracks everywhere because unless we're going to like a super hardcore total war, usually you're limiting your military production to just maybe a couple of high production cities, and then you're stacking bonuses in there. As far as our start goes, it's not bad. We'll be able to work a triple food tile immediately, which is pretty good. There's also a good triple production tile over here. We could even consider moving our settler to this tile. Actually, this is a mechanic that exists all the way through to Civ 6, actually. Doesn't apply in Civ 7, I don't think. I'm trying to remember no, because the production of the center tile doesn't work the same way in Civ 6, or Civ 7. Your production in Civ 4 here, on your city tile is 2 production, 1 food, and... No, sorry, 2 food, 1 production, 1 commerce. But if you settle on a tile that has a higher base production than that, you do get to keep the higher production. Now, if we were to settle on here, it would chop down the forest, which would drop the production from 3 to 2, but that would still mean we'd have a city tile with 2 production instead of just 1. Now, that difference doesn't matter as much as you go into the later game, especially, because this is a tile that we could mine, for example, build a mine on and then get, benefits from that. But it is a really good boost early on. We would lose a turn by doing that. Is it worth doing? I don't know. It is quite nice to be on fresh water to get the health bonus. I think we'll probably just settle in place here, but it's worth discussing. Don't love the resources. Silks over here require calendar to work, which comes a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and settle and hopefully reveal something a little stronger. Okay, as soon as our borders grow, we will have access to cattle, and we will have some marble over here, which is not too shabby. We are going to be brutally food rich because of this. We're a little awkward with the way the coast is positioned. but I think overall it's going to be okay. Now, we do have some interesting choices in terms of what we produce first. Our city production over here, we do start with the 3x3 square. It will grow and expand in 5 turns, and we'll have the fat cross, the sort of 5x5 area, except for the corners over here. And that is the most number of tiles a city can ever work. The borders will continue to grow and push out to claim territory in general, but the city itself will just only ever work that fat cross, which will be this silk, this cow, this marble, these tiles over here, and more hills here. I think our capital is going to have pretty good production. The only thing it lacks is something to boost food production, although luckily the floodplains will help out with that, which is okay. Starting with a worker first is very strong, but what's important to note in Civ 4 is your workers don't inherently have the ability to build any improvements whatsoever. All of it has to come through technology research. Let me just go and click on something to queue it up for a second. So we started with fishing, and we didn't actually start on the coast. We're not going to take advantage of the... do I just want to re-roll the start? I'm tempted, because I'm not sure that it's the strongest. Hunting does give us the ability to build a camp, but there's actually no camp resources nearby. So we need agriculture just to be able to build farms. For the stone, we would need masonry for the marble. And then animal husbandry we need for the cows. So starting with a worker first actually wouldn't do much for us with our start here. I really would have preferred a coastal start since we do start with fishing. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do a reroll. I'm going to do regenerate map. I don't believe it'll randomize our leaders or anything. There we go. Okay. I think this is going to be much more enjoyable for several different reasons. First of all, we actually are set up on a plains hill, which will give us +1 production without us having to move first. It's right on the coast with some water resources. I mean, there's going to be 3 of them, including one we can do immediately. And that means we can actually start by constructing a fishing boat immediately. And there's a lot of strengths to that. We still have the cattle, which is a great tile. We're going to have dramatically less production in our capital. On the other hand, it will be a good place for us to build the Mayu. I don't know how to pronounce it. But there is a national wonder we can build that gives us production in sea tiles. Now, you can only have 2 national wonders per city, and that will use one of the slots. And usually the capital sees a lot of those, but I think it's going to be a pretty good pick. Anyway, the early game is going to be pretty nice. We still have marble over here, which is interesting. All right, so we'll start with Athens. Now, one of the things in Civ 4, when you construct a worker or a settler, your city doesn't grow. Instead, the food does go and get converted to production. So having a food-rich city and then not growing when you build a worker or settler is kind of okay because you're going to build workers and settlers quite quickly. On the other hand, growth is pretty important early on. And by starting with the workboat, which is going to take us 15 turns to build currently, because it does take 30 production to do it, and we only have 2 production currently, but it will allow the city to keep growing, which I think is entirely what we want. We're going to start with the workboat. In 8 turns, the city is going to grow. It's going to claim another tile. One of the things we're going to do, and this is something that is important to do, Civ 4, 5, and 6, set your city to emphasize production, because what happens is when your population grows, the city will prioritize placement on a high production tile. But what we're going to do is we're going to manually work here, okay? So the citizen automation is off. I've manually assigned my citizen to here. But what's still going to happen is when the pop's going to grow, it's still going to default putting the population in a high production tile, assuming it can still feed itself. And the reason this is important in, again, Civ 4, 5, and 6 is because the way a city is processed at the end of a turn is it gets its food first, which could trigger a population growth, and then you calculate production. So theoretically, by doing this, you can squeeze out a tiny bit more production like that, whereas the default behavior for your second unit of population might have been, say, to work this tile. And working the extra food from the instant population growth won't do anything on that turn. So we would net 1 extra little hammer of optimization. Now, it's important to then go and manually adjust your population every time it grows. Usually only do this for the first couple of pops. Ideally, you could do it, forever throughout the entire game. But at some point, the micromanaging is kind of tedious. And what's annoying is if you forget to do this, then you're actually in a worse situation if you forget to do the readjustments. So, but we'll try to do it for the first little bit. We do start with a scout, which is nice. Any civilization that starts with hunting as a technology starts with a scout first instead of a warrior. Warriors in Civ 4 have a movement rate of 1. Scouts do have a movement rate of 2. And furthermore, goody huts can sometimes have bad results, but scouts ignore that. So you're guaranteed only positive results from goody huts if you pop them open with a scout. A lot of times I don't bother training a scout, but if I do start with one, I'm fairly happy. We are going to have to choose our starting technology still. I think since I really don't have to worry about picking up worker tech early on. We're going to be able to do a bunch of improvements just with fishing boats, which are going to be great. I think this is going to be a good case for us to beeline directly to bronze working. Bronze working is incredibly powerful for a couple of different reasons. One of the things is it does allow you to chop down forest, which is important if you want to clear terrain to build improvements on certain tiles, but the forest also, when they're chopped, they do give you production in your city, so it's a good way to accelerate things. Oh, I guess there's actually 3 things that are important about bronze working, because the second thing is that it reveals copper on the map, which can influence where we're going to settle. Copper is an incredibly important early game resource. It is required to build phalanxes, which are unique units, copper or iron. This is normally a spearman, and same sort of thing. And then it's also, sorry, my bad. The phalanx is a replacement for the axeman, which is probably the most potent early game unit there is, and we have a specifically unique one, which is a defense versus chariots, because chariots actually get a bone. Where are chariots located? No, it's under the wheel. Chariots normally get 100% attack versus axemen, but our phalanx actually gets a special defensive bonus versus the chariots, which is going to be very nice. It means we can't be countered like the normal play is. So yeah, it unlocks an incredibly powerful early unit. Lets us chop down force. Okay, there's 4 things. I keep lying. Reveals copper. I'm like the Spanish Inquisition here. And then finally, it enabled slavery, which is nasty, but an incredibly powerful early game civic. We don't want to run it very long, but it is going to be important for us to run. So we're going to go ahead and beeline towards bronze working. And yeah, it's nice not to have to worry about picking up the early game worker resource things. Although we might end up picking the marble sooner than later. Now, the Civ 4 scouts don't have the inherent ability to ignore rough terrain, so it would still use both of my movements to enter the woods here. I'm going to make a little bit of a circle around, Tokugawa. So you're interesting. So one of the things that's nice about Civ 4 is you get a really good clear breakdown on the left of all the modifiers that are affecting someone's mood. And but there is something that's a little less clear. So right now we got a -2 with Tokugawa. This will go away in time. We just, whatever reason, our scout said something nasty, and so we're starting with a negative relationship. Tokugawa is currently cautious. There is a sort of range of relationships we can have with someone. I don't have all the names. I don't remember if cautious is just the neutral one. Like if the next positive one goes to friendly, or I think it's pleased and then friendly. Like I don't know if there's one that just says neutral. I think cautious is kind of that. Now, different AIs have different A thresholds for these various relationship markers, and also will have different behaviors that they do or don't do at certain levels. Tokugawa is particularly isolationist, whereas most AI will still accept some diplomatic relations with you at cautious, open borders, trading technology, that sort of thing. I think Tokugawa doesn't. You have to get him to friendly to do any of that, which can be challenging if he's not willing to trade with you in the first place, so you might have to give him a gift or something to become friendly. On the other hand, since we met him on frickin' turn... where's my turn counter? This is 1 of 500. Did we start at 0 of 500? Maybe we did. But basically, on like the second turn of the game, it must mean he's close. And I think really we're probably going to look at him more as an early game target than anything else. I mean, we'll say there's peace in our time right now. But Tokugawa, as Japan, they get their unique unit is a replacement for the Maceman, which does come... not that late. I mean, certainly it's going to be a while before we get there, but the Maceman was already an incredibly powerful unit, and I think he gets the Samurai as a replacement for it, which is the same combat strength, but starts with 2 first strikes, drill 1. It still has the bonus against melee units, but yeah, it's really, really dangerous and nasty. Very dangerous. So... ideally, what we'd like to do is boop him before that, especially if he's going to be in my freaking way for my possible expansion plans. Okay, well, so much for any hope of a pacifist run. Is that his actual capital? I don't think I can enter that without declaring war. Yeah, so no, let's reconsider. I can't remember if on Monarch they start with a settler immediately, but that might just be his capital. Okay, borders of Athens is about to expand. That's fine. So yeah, this is the so-called fat cross. This represents every tile that Athens will work ever. But again, the borders will expand further than that just for my empire. We'll definitely want to get this goody hut. Let me go and pop up here first. Okay. And then over here, mining's about to finish. It's not going to do anything in and of itself. But we get to hear Leonard.
Begins by carrying away small stones.
Thanks, Spock. So yeah, now we can build mines with a worker. Not that we have any tiles for it yet. The goody hut gave us 55 gold. All right, That's fine. We haven't talked about the money here. If you're not familiar with Civ 4, what happens is tiles with these coins here. These are not gold going directly into my treasury. This represents commerce, and we've got these sliders in the top left corner. We get to choose where the commerce is going. Currently, we have 100% of it going towards science. I could set the science to 0, in which case all the commerce would go towards just making money. So currently, we were getting 10 money versus 10 science. We'll be getting multipliers. Like if you build a library, then you get a 25% boost to science output over the commerce and different things like that. Markets do the same thing for money. So, I mean, right now, presumably, our commerce production in our empire is just 10, and we have nothing affecting the multiplication for it. Athens is going to grow next turn. So again, we have the production set. So actually, it might go and work one of these tiles. Again, it does try to make sure to place it in a way that's going to keep the food from going negative. Which actually, yeah, we've got +3, so I bet you we'll put it there, so we'll get plenty hammers, and then we'll go and readjust things after that. All right, next turn, there's the growth. There you go, so it did assign there, but I don't actually want to work that tile. What I do want to do is work a tile that will give me more food. I could go here for like double food plus some commerce, which will help the tech, but I think it probably makes more sense to go double food plus a hammer, and we do have a lot of options for that. Out of curiosity, where would the AI place it? Yeah, see, and I totally agree with this. I'm just going to turn off automation again. I'm going to put on emphasis production. We'll work this with a 2 food. I mean, there's nothing that gives us more food than this currently. And then again, because we have plenty of food excess, when we grow again, it will go and work one of these hammer tiles until we redeploy. But once we get this workboat down, a lot of the mechanics are going to change a lot here. So we'll see. Let's go here for maximum movement. Oh, right. So the money here, what's going to happen is as we build more cities, we start to... cities require maintenance, so cities start to cost you a certain amount of money per turn, and by having some extra gold stored up, it means we'll be able to run a gold deficit, or 100% science, for a lot longer. So the gold from these goody huts aren't too bad, even though we actually can't spend the money on rushing things right now. The button to hurry using gold requires a civic called universal suffrage. So we're not going to be able to spend gold to rush production for a long time, but gold basically just means more tech. So someone has founded Buddhism.
Oh,
hello,
farmers,
free tech.
Pray that
That's
your
not
summers
bad.
be wet and your winters clear.
Don't mind that one bit. So the way you get religions in Civ 4 is there are certain technologies. Meditation, the first person to research it founds Buddhism. Polytheism founds Hinduism. Monotheism founds Judaism. Theology is for Christianity. Philosophy for Taoism. Divine right gives you Islam. Is there one more? Maybe that's all of them. I don't know. So yeah, being the first one to do that is good. If you start with mysticism, and some do, the more spiritual civs tend to start with mysticism, then you can research meditation or polytheism right away. The AI tends to go for meditation first, which is actually a cheaper tech. So a lot of times you'll get beaten to Buddhism. So if you do want like a super early game religion, you probably want to research polytheism first. And then again, you're going to only want to do that for someone who starts with mysticism. I mean, on lower difficulties, you can probably make a beeline regardless. But yeah. And the nice thing is if you do go with polytheism and you miss, someone beats you to Hinduism, you can then immediately try to research monotheism to take a crack at Judaism if you can. We may be able to do an oracle into Code of Laws slingshot to be the ones... Oh, I didn't actually address Confucianism. And ironically, this is the one I most frequently secure. I knew there was one missing. Yeah, Confucianism over here with Code of Laws. So we'll see. The Japanese Empire has not converted to Buddhism, so I don't think they founded it. And I don't think they start with mysticism, so I feel it was pretty unlikely for them to be the candidate for that. All right, we do have a lion over here. Lion does have a combat strength of 2. Our scout only has combat strength of 1. Scouts do have a 100% bonus against animals, so it sort of brings them up to parity. And we've also got a hill here that does give us 25% bonus, but it's a 25% to our base, which isn't that high. I think you're guaranteed to win your first combat regardless. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over here to the woods, which does have a 50% bonus. There's Hinduism. I'm going to move up here to the Goody Hut, which gives us more gold. Okay, that's fine. Workboat done in 2 turns. Move up here for lots of defense bonus, plus 75%. Okay, workboat is done. What I kind of want to do is go warrior settler, because what I want to do is have a warrior to escort my settler and get that going right away. Part of me does kind of want to get another workboat really quickly so that we can work improved tiles. I don't like to work unimproved tiles, but I think warrior into settler is the correct play here. So we're going to do that. Now, in terms of which of these two we should do, The clams has currently 2 food, 2 commerce. We get an extra +2 with fishing boats. The fish is 2 food, 1 commerce, but we get +3 food with a fishing boat. So I think the fish is going to be the priority, even though I won't be able to do it in 1 turn because it's going to eat all of our movement. But so be it. Okay, luckily there's a decent amount of land to the north of us. Okay, we're going to do this. And yeah, we're going to go and do that. I mean, no matter what we grow in 1 turn here. Okay, let me do it this way. So we'll grow in 1 turn, but get a few extra hammers. Stay in the jungle. Jungle can be dangerous to explore because there are panthers out there which move fast and have decent strength. Okay, so it should have put the unit over... Oh, interesting, it went there. I guess because we didn't have enough positive food, so it felt it had to do this? I don't know. Anyway. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and use the default automation now. I mean, I could still put focuses on things, but we'll do this. 1 or 2 turns, the growth over here... Since, I mean, unless we want to grow to size 4, but that's not really viable, I think what actually makes sense here... Yes, is this. Maximize production. We get the warrior next turn, and then we'll immediately start on the settler after that. Yeah, all right, good. Oh, another goodie hut. How nice. Okay, I do want the settler. I could move the warrior out already to sort of reserve the spot. What we should kind of do is figure out where we might want to settle. We could wait until bronze working pops because we would really like... Well, I guess that's it. We don't have the settler for another 12 turns. If I go and... the production here, again, because now food and hammers both get turned into production, it's a lot more clear what tiles will be worked, so that's going to be okay. So 12 turns is the best we can do. I'm going to go out and explore just a scooch. It's obviously coast here, but we can spend a little bit of time with our warrior moving around. More gold, a tiny bit of gold, which isn't wonderful, but sure. I do think this might be a good place to settle here. High production sort of on the center tile, a few resources. There we go. There's the panther. Let's move up to this jungle hill for the 75% bonus on defense. And there we go. And we'll just heal this scout. I think that was our first combat. And again, I think we're guaranteed to win the first one against barbarians. At some point, we stop getting animals as the sort of quote-unquote barbarian units, and they get replaced with actual barbarians. Okay, bronze over there.
It is entirely seemly for a young man killed in battle to lie mangled by the bronze spear. In his death, all things appear fair.
There's something to be said about me having still gotten a worker out here so I could start some shops. We are going to go and swap our civics over. So this is going to cause 1 turn of anarchy, which could be avoided if we were playing a spiritual civ, but we're not. So during anarchy, during the revolution here, nothing will be produced, nothing will be researched, but that's okay. We'll flip over to slavery here, which lets us sacrifice units of population to accelerate our production. These science times seem insane right now because, again, we're not currently producing anything, so it's all sort of stalled out, but that's going to be okay. All right, we are going to get a worker relatively soon. The marble... I think we'll probably get the animal husbandry first. Like, I usually what I'm looking to do here is get my worker techs. Although the workers can do a little bit already. Maybe I will go pottery, which does require a wheel first, just so that we can get the granaries. I mean, cottages are also good. They're really good. They're not necessarily something I often rush necessarily. But yeah, let's do this so we can build the granary. And we could also keep our workers busy with the roads, although that's not, again, not a really early game priority. All right, there we go. Revolution has ended. So now what I can do is I can sacrifice population to rush production. And one of the things the Better Unaltered Gameplay mod will do is put like nice little alerts up here letting me know when that can be done. Okay, I'm going to move down here, and then I'm just going to start bringing the warrior back a little bit. Oh, there's some panthers again. 6 turns. Okay, I can do this and then still meet my settler. Okay, oh, scout won another battle. That's good. So just start moving back towards here. All right, we got a promotion we can do for our scout. I think I'm going to go for the woodsman to give it jungle and forest defense. The tier 2 of woodsman or the tier 2 of gorilla both let you move through foresty tiles or hill tiles at reduced movement cost, which is nice. But I think here it looks like we've got a lot of foresty areas in general, so I'll go with woodsman in this case. And then it does heal you a bit when you promote and does not end your turn in Civ 4. So we'll just tell him to sit here and heal. and then we'll see where we are. So we've still only met one neighbor. By the way, so there we can get a score comparison here in the bottom right corner. The 0.7, which is a little bit smooshed here, that is our relative combat strength. So we have 70% of the military strength of Japan right now. It's not, we're not going to worry about that quite yet. Okay, you stay healing here. Try not to die. Okay, there we go. Athens can hurry a settler for one population and get some overflow. I'm going to do that now. We're going to try to use this as often as possible, especially since Athens is a really good food tile. It's going to be able to regrow from a low population very quickly. Even if I go and bring it all the way down to size 1, it's going to regrow really fast thanks to this. Okay, I'm going to go for a worker. Yes, now. I'm going to go for a worker now. Okay, let's do a little bit of dot mapping. So classically what you would do is you would zoom out, take a screenshot, bring it into Paint, and actually draw some little things to figure out where you'd go. The bug mod, and I think it's the bug mod, I don't think it's built in, lets you do Alt-X to do this mode where we can draw some city borders. So obviously our capital is over there. We've got a recommended city border spot there, which is fine. Overlap's not the end of the world. It only matters when both cities are at max pop, but that is pretty aggressive overlap. Honestly, something over here is decent. This is a hills desert tile, so it's not going to get the extra production bonus, but settling on hills is nice for defensive purposes. Although I think if you settle on a hill, you can't build windmills for some reason. I think it might be windmills. Or some building. I feel like there's some building you can't build in your city if your city is on a hill. But I don't know. So I mean that's not bad. I mean, we could build right on the border with Japan here in a defensive location, but it's not a great city tile. I mean, there's copper there's copper there. We're probably going to want that, although long term, this is a good city location, which then makes something like this pretty appealing, right? Something like this isn't bad. You could even settle on the stone. You will get the benefit of the resource if you settle on it, but you might get more of a benefit if it was quarried. On the other hand, this would be 3 base production in the center tile, which is huge when a city is new. Actually, I think that's probably our best bet for an early city, just to milk the extra production. The big issue with this city will be a dramatic shortage of food, because there's no fresh water, so we can't actually build any farms over here. We will be able to give this city the cattle tile, which will have some amount of food. But yeah, this won't grow very big, but it'll have some crazy base production. And then long term, can we bring some irrigation over? Not through these hills. Maybe through here. I think irrigation can spread diagonally. So later on, you'll get a tech where farms can spread irrigation, which then let you chain farms, which will kind of need on a flatland. This is going to be really good early, but stay really small for a long time. Now, the other thing to note is, yeah, it would be great to get this copper. Now, the game's suggesting maybe here. I don't love the amount of overlap that's going on. What about something like this? I could go and farm 3 tiles over here. It still gets the stone. It's well protected in that, well, I was going to say there's not too many angles of attack, which doesn't matter as much in Civ 4. And in fact, it's less well protected because a hostile unit, army stack, can sit on this hill, which makes it hard to deal with. I mean, maybe I should really focus on, hey, how do we get the copper as early as possible? I don't like this because sea tiles on non-coastal cities in Civ 4 can't really be worked. So I'm actually wondering about this, right? That might be good, and we get some fresh water, no weirdly useless sea tiles. And yeah, somewhere over here, maybe depending on how many sea resources there are. And then yeah, kind of later on, something over here. You know, maybe something like this. Like, I just want a rough sketch. This is going to change because the AI might settle in places to change things. But, you know, I don't want to kind of like ruin our placement early on. I'm still wondering if this is really good as an early city, even though it doesn't have huge potential into the mid-game. It's going to suffer in the mid-game. It'll bounce back up later on, but it will be really nice early, especially if I'm trying to rush a war. Just from the production here. Athens can focus entirely on just the commerce from all these sea tiles, which is actually going to be pretty good. And this is just going to do our early unit production. Yeah, maybe. And then a quick second city over here to pick up the copper. I think that's going to be the way it goes. I'm a little bit worried. This isn't Civ 7, so your settlers can be stolen immediately with just a single unit moving into it. So we really don't want to risk anything unescorted. I think I need to run away from this line here since I am currently injured. Hello, the wheel.
Put your shoulder to the wheel.
Okay. But we're on hills. We've got good vision. I think we're safe here. Athens can hurry the worker. Yeah, we're going to do that. The other thing is every time you do hurry a worker, it does generate 10 turns of unhappiness with a +1. So right now we have 6 turns left of the previous one at a +1. If I do this, it says 16 turns. But what it is, it's +1 for another 10 turns. It'll be +2 for the 6. And then the 6 will burn off and we'll be left with a +1. It's definitely worth doing though. I'm going to hurry that. Bring us down to pop 1, but again, that's okay because we've got this one super food-rich tile to let us bounce back quickly. And yeah, I think this is going to be safe to move on to this tile. And, okay, worker is done. I think what makes sense here is maybe a couple of workboats to not impede our growth. Yeah. Interesting, it's suggesting a work here. It's probably going to be building a farm, which isn't all that useful. And we can farm the desert tile, which also isn't all that great. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to go and chop one of these hills and prepare to do a mine. All right, we're going to build Sparta. You are going to start immediately with the worker, actually. And yeah, the lion only has a movement rate of 1, so... And actually, the wild animals don't enter your borders, so you don't actually have to worry about those, like, quasi-barbarians causing us any issues. Okay, so now we've got a maintenance cost for Sparta, so now we're losing gold per turn. I mean, I could easily fix it by bringing down our science rate, but we've got so much money banked up, we're absolutely 100% going to do deficit spending to keep up our science rate. For sure. So what I'm going to do is, we could just chop, which will chop it in 3 turns, but there's sort of no reason, I think, to do that timing. I think what I'm going to do is do the mine, which will take 7 turns because it's 3 turns to chop and 4 turns to build the mine, but this will combine it into one action, so the forest doesn't actually get chopped until the end. So theoretically, this tile can be worked for its max production until we get rid of it, and then that will give us a production boost in the nearest city, which this tile is owned by Athens, so it would go over there. It's 20 production by default on these standard speeds. Later, if you get mathematics, I believe it increases the yield by 50%, turning into 30. But yeah, we're going to do this, and one of the things you can do is you can stop this job with 1 turn left and kind of leave it parked in that state. It's called pre-chopping forest, and then later if you're building something that's more time sensitive like a wonder, or perhaps you're just trying to squeeze out a settler faster, you can go and finish that. With the bug mod, there is an option to do that by default. So pre-chop forest, what it's going to do, and pre-chop improvements, what it's going to do, it's going to automatically stop this one with 1 turn left, so you don't have to worry about accidentally overshooting. I'm going to park you here. We are going to need some extra warriors relatively soon here. If nothing else, what we want to do is park them to expand out our vision, because barbarians can't spawn where you have vision. So that's going to be an important part of our defensive plan. Hello, Sully. Nice to meet you. Pop this goodie hut. We got a map. Not a very useful map, if I'm going to be honest, but okay. We currently have no espionage to the Ottomans, so we don't know how relatively strong they are to us, but that should fix itself soon.
Hath not the potter power over the clay to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor?
Okay, we want the granary very quickly, and we'll showcase why that is. I think what we want to do now is finish some of the worker techs, like we'll go ahead and get animal husbandry, which might reveal horses somewhere useful, which would be good, but then lets us build the pasture. I should probably get masonry as well for the quarry. But then afterwards, I think what's going to happen... Actually, hold on, do I need to get writing first? No, I think I will do this. And then writing... Yeah. Let's swing you back down over here. Athens, I'm actually going to change your priority. You're going to go and work on a granary first. So what the granary does is when your city grows, it keeps 50% of its food. So this food meter fills up, and then when your population grows, it gets reset down to 0. Here it's going to keep 50%. The meter won't be at the 50% mark because to grow from size 2 to size 3, we need a total of 24 food. So it's going to save 12 food, but it's going to need more than 24 food for the next one. But still, it's a huge growth increaser, especially if we're going to be routinely sacrificing population. We want them to grow very quickly. That's an enemy archer? A lot of higher level Civ 4 players turn off random events because some of them are kind of unbalanced. In particular, the most iconic, most OP random event that can happen, apparently, is something called Vedic Aryans, which I hadn't experienced before. It can happen, I believe, as soon as some civilizations in the world, or enough civilizations in the world, have researched archery and polytheism. And since we're playing on Monarch difficulty, I think the AI might even start with archery right off the bat so that they've got some archer units. And this event can simply fire off, spawning a stack of barbarian archers. Now, I reviewed the video. I didn't see anything about this in my log, although maybe I missed it. I suspect this event actually triggered against Japan, but for some reason they went and came towards me. And this basically signals a game over. I actually don't even notice that it's a stack of archers at first, and I'm kind of freaked out by a single barbarian archer at this stage of the game, which seems impossibly bad. The fact that it's a stack of 4 is literally impossible for me to have overcome, and the next time I play a Civ 4 game, I will simply turn off random events. That is shockingly early and actually a huge problem for us. Let's actually put a warrior in here first and then immediately whip it. Whip it good. Okay, the archer can't reach us. There's no actual ranged attack in this game, so we're not actually having to be worried about being shot, and they do move slowly. But I'm going to have to move back and just park yourself in the city. Warriors do get a defense bonus if they're in a city tile. I don't like only having one because this archer could easily get lucky. I'm sorry, that's a quadruple stack of barber. What? Well, we're just losing the game. How is this possible? Did someone pop an event that triggered a barbarian swarm and they came to me? I've never seen this. This actually seems impossible. Like, this literally seems like something that is not... I mean, it's clearly possible because it's clearly happened. Well, we're just going to lose Athens here. Yeah. Okay, my love for Civ 4 is now no longer the same. I don't know what this is. The only thought is someone popped a barbarian, like a goody hut, that spawned a bunch of barbarian units that stacked up and came here, or had an event that came to me. I've never in my life. We haven't even seen barbarian towns spawn yet, which at best would be defended by like a couple of archers, but they wouldn't move out. This is unheard of to me. Wow. Well, it's going to be a short video. There's absolutely nothing we could have done about that. Even if I built as many warriors as I could, which would be insane and would have cost me, like, you don't start a game of, well, any Civ, just being like, I'm just going to build like 6 warriors in a row nonstop. No workers, no buildings, no settlers. No, you clearly can't do that. And even if we had done nothing but build warriors, I think we would have still lost to that. That is... I have no idea what that is. I wonder if there's something somewhat related to having regenerated the map? If it led to the game being in a weird state? I don't think so. Well, thanks for watching this video. Maybe there'll be more Civ 4 coming soon too, but... Wow. Yeah, 100% there's nothing we could have done there. Even the one archer I was surprised at, right? When I thought it was one archer, like, that is weirdly... I have no idea how the archer would have gotten there. At this stage in the game, I would have expected barbarian warriors. That would maybe become a problem. That's it. I would not I wonder if I just reloaded an autosave from a couple of turns ago. Like, I feel like this must have been a completely random event. And why would they have come to me? Why couldn't they have gone down to Japan? No, I don't know. That's it. We'll just take it and we'll try again next time. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.